Most Batman fans believe the best Batman movie is The Dark Knight by Christopher Nolan, or one of the movies from the 90s, or even Ben Affleck's Batman movie that never got made. However, I'm here to tell you why the latest Batman movie starring Robert Pattinson in the titular role and directed by Matt Reeves is the greatest Batman movie of all time. The opening, one of the core strengths of this movie, is how it starts. We are told by Bruce Wayne himself that he has only been the Batman for 2 years thus far, but during this time the Cape and Cowl has transformed him into a nocturnal animal. He also tells us that there is a signal for him when the GCPD, mainly his ally, Jim Gordon, needs him. And this is when we are informed of one of this movie's main themes, what Batman represents. The signal isn't just a call for when he's needed by Gordon, it's a threat to the criminals that inhabit the city, telling them to be afraid because the Batman is lurking in the shadows. Batman symbolizes and utilizes fear as a weapon, although it doesn't just work on the criminals terrorizing Gotham, it leaves the innocent people of the city terrified of him as well. The characterization of Bruce is really what makes this one of the best Batman movies. Almost everything in this movie takes place from Bruce's point of view and his perspective and how that changes. Normally in most Batman movies, Bruce Wayne is portrayed as the laid back billionaire playboy who gets all the girls and is kind of a douchebag. But here, Bruce is completely withdrawn from everyone around him. He's a recluse. He doesn't like to leave his house until nighttime when it's time for him to go out as Batman. He doesn't take good care of himself. And at his core, Bruce in this movie is just a little boy who saw his parents get shot in an alley by a criminal and never healed from that trauma. So he takes that trauma out on every criminal he can find as Batman. When we first see him as Batman in this movie, he brutally beats up a criminal and declares he's vengeance. The city of Gotham is the other main element that makes this movie work. This version of Gotham perfectly portrays why this place is a cesspool, a literal hellhole where it's always raining, wet, and disgusting, and the sun rarely ever shines here. This is only Batman's second year fighting crime, so the city doesn't have the blimps in most of Batman's psychotic villains that most Batman fans are accustomed to, but the movie shows just how Batman's presence is changing Gotham by introducing a criminal unlike crime bosses such as Carmine Falcone or the Penguin, who have corrupted the city of Gotham so much that Bruce will end up questioning his own role as Batman and what that means. Enter the Riddler. The main villain of this movie is a perfect counter to Bruce and Batman in every way. The Riddler's plan in this movie involves exposing every corrupt city official associated with mob boss Carmine Falcone and showing the people of Gotham that the city is built on a lie. And throughout the movie, he inflicts his own lethal brand of vengeance upon these corrupt city officials. Of course, Batman is on his trail to bring him to justice, but at the same time, he doesn't really feel bad for the people Riddler is murdering. In fact, on some level, Bruce thinks they deserve it. Although the Riddler eventually shatters that belief by revealing a piece of Bruce's family history he wasn't privy to. Bruce's father aligned himself with Carmine Falcone during his campaign to run for mayor because a reporter dug up an ugly truth about Bruce's mother and threatened to reveal it to the press. So Thomas Wayne went to Falcone and Gotham's top mob boss and had the reporter murdered. Riddler goes on to reveal he was an orphan, just like Bruce, but his life was a living hell at Gotham Orphanage where the living conditions were terrible for him. But then compares himself to Bruce, whose parents were also killed, but at least he had a cushy mansion and a butler to take care of him, calling Bruce not really an orphan. All of this inspires Riddler to wear a mask just like Batman and inflict his own form of vengeance on those who he feels had wronged him in the past. Bruce's worldview shatters after hearing this information. He always saw his parents as paragons, especially his father. So to find out he was working with the city's biggest criminal is earth-shattering. The Riddler's final plan for Gotham is to flood the city completely, and here at the end of the movie Bruce realizes what needs to change. When he stops a henchman of the Riddler who tells him he's vengeance, mirroring what Bruce himself said at the very beginning of the movie. As the city begins to flood, Batman lights a flare and helps lead the innocent civilians of Gotham to safety, realizing that Batman can't only symbolize fear and vengeance won't change anything, past or present. What Gotham City needs is hope, and that is what makes this the best Batman movie. The fact that it gives him a complete character arc that encapsulates what makes the character a superhero. Because some people think that Batman is just some brooding edgelord that likes to hit people, and that's not his character at all. Batman is the story of a man turning his tragedy into hope for his city. And we see that in this movie because in his first scene of Batman, he scares the hell out of a regular civilian. Fear was his primary tool, and he didn't care if it was also scaring regular people who weren't criminals. But by the end of this movie, he shines a light in complete darkness, signifying his aim to now inspire hope. And we see that because instead of people being scared of him, they now trust him with their life.